isn't that just in general the problem with our culture because we want instant gratification? And
Yeah.
really, what does it take? It takes consistency.
Hey there, welcome to Top of Mind. Real talk for today's woman with Anna and Karen.
And we're on. We're here. Big, so that I know
Yes.
where to cut it. Yes, there we go.
Woohoo!
So, um, just to recap, Annie and I had started talking. She asked me how are things going. And I just said to her, I had planned on doing a group. It was called Fearless Foundations, launching it next week. And I've been promoting it it's a collaboration with Audrey Hamilton. It's like it's all the foundations that are needed for starting your business. Whether you're just starting, you need mindset, you need to do the website, email sequencing, I call it everything from mindset to marketing. And been marketing it pretty hard out there. And so anyway, but we're not getting anybody coming to it. And the best thing is it's like it's affordable. Like it's all this great information for what we considered like when you're starting off, you don't have a lot of money to invest. I don't want you to have to spend thousands on coaching and that. And so I said we've kind of decided to step back. I've had something happen in my personal life. I need to take some time back. My brother's not well right now, so I found that out on the weekend. It has kind of overwhelmed me, and so we decided to wait until like January to launch. And then you mentioned,
I mentioned that there are people that I know out in the coaching world that are launching programs and again having the same issue. So we started kind of talking about, we both follow a coach who's very successful. She seems to have no problem launching or getting people in her program. And when we say people, we're talking thousands.
well, come on,
Um,
it's Melanie Ann Layer. If you don't know her, look it up.
yeah. And it's kind of interesting because there's coaches like, for instance, you can hire me and I can give you a roadmap on, taking a more holistic approach, a grounding. You can hire Karen and she can talk to you about confidence and give you the roadmap. Melanie doesn't do that. I mean, it's
No.
very, what's the word? Esoteric?
Yeah. Um, well, I gotta turn off that light. Esoteric. I'm not sure esoteric's a word, but it's definitely otherworldly, occultish. No, I don't. Spiritual. I don't
Politician.
know. What do you call it?
Well,
It's
because she doesn't really teach anything. She doesn't give a roadmap. It's more about
a
kind of
philosophy.
about what
A philosophy.
it is. It's
An
about.
ideology. It's a thinking, a
Mhm.
way of looking at things.
Because she teaches you to step into your life, but she doesn't give you the roadmap on how to do it. She's
No.
just like, you got to do it. But anyway, with the exception of her, we
Yes.
were we were talking about another friend of ours who's a coach, and we were, just I was asking about her program that I opted not to join this time because I'm in a different phase, which we can talk about,
Mhm.
um, of kind of figuring out me, revamping kind of me. So I didn't join her program. So we were just kind of talking about things in general. And I do believe for whatever reason, women, we have trouble investing in ourselves.
Mhm. Big time, you know. Big time. But I also know, like I had a coach that predicted about a year and a half ago that anybody in the coaching world has to get their marketing in their like actually Melanie was one of the examples, but that idea of getting your marketing down, your messaging down, because as more and more people flood into coaching, you
Hmm.
know, that what happens is there's so much competition out there. And so everybody's vying for the same dollars, shall we say. And,
Hmm.
you can believe in abundance and everything like that. There's lots of people that will probably write to us below and say, hey, I'm doing fabulous. I launch and all this money and everything like that. But I also find that, as I said, was predicted was we're in a, rec- we're not in a recession, but people are certainly looking at their money and what they're spending it on
Hmm.
differently. You know, um, I mean, quite frankly, I was in a program once and they talked about this woman who wanted to help women that were like on social assistance. And, she wanted to help them gain self-autonomy in that. And I remember the coach saying, and do you have anybody? And she says, no. And he says, well, the problem is they're not the ones that have the money to be able to buy the program. And in some ways, I do know I'm just talking this out at the moment. So I'm kind of
It's
looking
what we
at
do.
Yes, this is what we do. Okay. So in talking it out, it's like actually who we were marketing to is that brand new entrepreneur. I imagine a little bit like a single mom who's trying to add something in on the side to bring in some money or that type of stuff. They, even what I consider like $50 a month can be a lot for somebody in that situation. So, I might actually be marketing to the wrong person would have more difficulty in it. And that may be part of my problem. But
Mhm.
but the problem, difficulties, I think people are much more discerning right now. How am I spending my money? Is coaching the way? It's a luxury. And so, as coaches, we're doing well for a lot of years, that type of stuff. Well, not a lot of years, but it's a newer endeavor. But, since COVID type of stuff, those first couple of years when people had lots of extra money, it was easy.
Mhm.
And and now it's not as easy. People are much more discerning. And I think you said it is that, are people um not going to groups as much, you know?
Well, it's interesting because there's influencers that I follow, especially in the holistic and the health area, and one of them today called out three other influencers,
Mm.
and basically, and this is going to be, and basically said, stop peddling the bullshit, like stop going for the extreme, because if someone is in an extreme, it's BS. And these are three pretty well known people that I follow, but there's times when they post things, and I'm like, you know, bullshit kind of thing. So this influencer is calling them out, saying, just stop peddling stop the fear mongering, like
This
stop.
so emphasizing that pain point, the exaggerated pain point, is that what we're talking about?
Well, for instance, one of like I've been living an intermittent fasting lifestyle for 6 years. Okay, I'm a woman. I went through menopause. I never fasted any differently, and women have been fasting thousands of years. And then in the last 3 years, a doctor came on, and she talks about how we have to do the nurture and moon phase, and we have to fast differently around our period, and how fasting raises our testosterone by like 1,500%. And this is what this guy called out. He's like, bullshit, like, just so it's things like that where, and I believe like right now we almost live in extremes, and it's sometimes that and I'm not saying, I'm not trying to, it's almost like there certain people will kind of push on those points, or almost like fear monger, if you will.
Mhm.
um I know I refuse to do that. You don't do that. Um, but I think that's a kind of interesting dynamic I'm seeing in the coaching world as well. And you probably see things too.
Yes. Yes. I think I understand what you're saying. So it's, it's the difference between the coaches that, say, talk to the dream, the things that we want in our life, what you're going to go towards, compared to the pain points type of idea.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I think that people are becoming much more discerning. It's more difficult. And like I said, I say that for every flunk or failed launch, there's lots of people that would consider successful. Well, what is successful?
Right.
Is it a dollar value? Is it person value? I'm not sure what that is.
Right. Is it changing a life?
you know and how do we do that? Is it measured because of an exchange of money, or is it an exchange of ideas somebody reads? When I put something out, just because I don't have a client ringing, Stripe going ka-ching, I do believe that who reads that, it impacts them, it changes their life.
Right. And I think that, to your point, like there's so many different types of currency,
Yes.
and we tend to only think of money
Yeah.
versus time and energy and impact. I mean, there's so many softer, more valuable currencies than
the,
just
pro-
the.
the problem is, Anne, you have to pay your rent.
You do. You do.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yes, and 100% you do, especially when this is your living, like for me, and like that is 100% true. We do have to, but um again, I, I can't. I am, as a coach, not comfortable selling pain points. Can I transform someone? Can I help them? Yes. But am I comfortable, poking that pain point? I'm just not.
So what do you do instead?
I think a lot of it is probably like referral and just talking about things because, and again, we even talked about how it's hard to me. Like, so for instance, I've heard for a long time about changing, you have to change this or you have to change that. Um, it took me a long time to understand that.
Sorry, when you say change this and change
Like,
that,
you
what
got
do
to
you
change
mean?
your mindset. You have to change, So for instance, let's consider like a let's the story of like the let's talk about the bricklayers. Okay,
Okay.
so there were these three people and they were all laying bricks. And this person came up and he said to the first person, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, I'm just laying these bricks." And then he went to the second person. He goes, "Oh, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm laying these bricks. I'm building a wall."
Mm,
Then he goes to the third person. "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm laying these bricks. I am building a beautiful cathedral."
mm, yeah,
All doing the same job,
yeah,
all with a different perspective.
yeah.
So how do you change, and people be like, "Well, you got to be the cathedral, you got to be the one over here." But how do you change that? That's what I mean by like mindset. Like, people say, "Well, you got to change your mindset. You got to change the way you're looking at things."
Yeah.
And I believe you do that by laying that brick. That's for me. Like, it took me a long time.
Hmm.
Um Years to kind of figure it out, and so I don't know.
I think it's Tony Robbins, but I'm sure other people have said it as well, that say, that instant and success comes from 20 years of coming to that moment. Like what we perceive.
Yes.
What the public sees, we've had to practice in private for 20 years beforehand. And
Yeah.
it's like those instant successes. I mean, I'm sitting here, I've tried for 2 weeks to sell this thing and it's going nowhere. What do I do? Now, the truth of the matter is I've got stuff in my personal life that I need to put aside. I definitely wouldn't otherwise. I just get ready to go again and try different messaging and that.
Right.
But that's what I hear. I've been in so many groups where it's like, well, I tried this and it didn't work, and they're giving up 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. And I think some of that is also the false narrative that you talk about, that instant success that happens out
Yes.
there.
Hmm.
Everybody that I know that appears to have had that instant success, there are ones that tout it, like, oh, I did this, in 20 days or this type of stuff. But then there are others that will say, no, no, I had 3 flops before I got to this.
Hmm.
And that's the more realistic. Yes, there are some people who win the lottery,
Right.
but not everybody can,
Hmm.
you
I
know?
mean, isn't that just in general the problem with our culture because we want instant gratification? And
Yeah.
really, what does it take? It takes consistency. That's
Yeah.
where most of us fail, right? It's laying those bricks.
Yeah. And so you just said it, the laying of the bricks. Like I remember when I first came in for e-commerce, I truly believed, being naive, I gave them over my money because they told me that I could sell something, become a millionaire in 2 years, and then it would launch. I really believe that. I have no idea why I did. But now that I look at it, I've been in the world, I'm like, oh my God, you're dumb. Just open your credit card. Here you go. But I did. I thought that it was as easy as that. And maybe for some people it is. I remember my first coach in the e-commerce, he would not tell any of his, you'd meet with him, he wouldn't tell us what he was selling.
Hmm.
And I'm like, why? And he says, because you're a bunch of vultures. You just go out there and grab that item and start competing against me and I'll lose. And he was right. We would have.
But like if and I 100% agree. And sometimes I still fall for it. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. Sometimes I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's exactly what I need. Let me
Yes,
give you
yes,
my credit card." And then I have to take a step back and say, "Okay, wait. First of all, I'm in this business and I've been in this business for a long time, but um so there's like somebody I follow who launches, Jeff Walker. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
no,
And yeah, he's been in the business since, the early 2000s. He was kind of one of the original launchers. And he goes, "My first launch, I made, $300." And then he talks about, how he continued at it and build it and he tried different things. And I think that's the part that we lack right now
yeah.
in
The,
general. Like, we all want that instant.
yeah.
We're all like, we're probably willing to open our purse. Like, if I said to you, "Hey, Karen, I have a magic pill that can increase your longevity by, 50%, and it can decrease your blood pressure by 30%. And all you have to do is take this, here's this pill. We're very quick to swallow that. But if I tell you that pill is walking 10,000 steps a day, see the difference?
Yes.
I mean,
It's an interesting thing in doing, like, I've been studying the last about a year and a half, the manifestation law of success, all this type of stuff, quite a bit, because I figured I'm the problem in my business. And it's very true. My mindset thinks I'm a mindset coach, but I had to work on my own mindset. Anyway, one of the fellows, Bob Proctor, people may or may not know him, but one of the things that he says is that if he had to pick out of anything, the biggest thing for people that we need to study and that we need to do is persistence. It's not visualizing, it's not this, it's not that, it's, it's like the law of abundance, your vibration, everything. Persistence. And that's because we give up, I mean, I've heard it in AA for years. Don't give up before the miracle happens, And so here I am. I'm still in the game. I'm still playing. I'm still going along, chugging along, And I find I'm instead of thinking failure, that and this may have come from you, the fine tuning. I forget who told me that term. I think it was you. Fine tuning. I'm just fine tuning. I keep fine tuning, and not taking things personally and that type of stuff. You have to have resilience. That's part of confidence.
Yes.
So, but you're right. We want instant gratification. And even today, like you, I fall prey for it. All of a sudden, somebody says, this is what you need to launch a course. And I go, oh, that's what my problem is.
That's what I've been missing.
Yes. And you know what? I have to do everything to resist it. And then guess what? Email. God, I have to work on a list, because email, come in my email, then tell me you've got 3 days left and 1 day left, and I'm going to miss out on that sale. Bye-bye.
And that's all marketing.
Yep. Now ask me if I have an email list.
Do you have an email list?
No. Now, is that dumb or what, right? Am I getting in my own way? I think I already know. Everybody says that's the way. Anyway, I'm just laughing at how difficult me as an entrepreneur, as a business, can make things on myself. I know my habits around email. I know your habits. I know a whole bunch of people's habits. They got the statistics to back it up and everything like that. And I can tell you, I'm a sucker for a sale in my email. If I've known you, doesn't matter if I know you. You keep coming in my email. All of a sudden, I feel like we're best friends. I know you because I keep seeing your name. I buy. And then, do I have an email list? Am I actually working on my email list? Next month, that's on my top of my list.
Do you have a funnel? Because that's kind of what it is, right? You're funneling. It's a marketing. It's a drip campaign.
Yep. So but you have to have an email list to send the funnel to, so, but yes. the whole thing is, it's just funny how I sit here and I talk to you about it, and it's like, I know, like, there's just, I want to bring it up the next time, something about that hit me last week that Ed Milet brought up, and in a bit of a discussion, which reminds me, after watching tonight, and how you said you're making a living out of this. Lots of people are, but I'm not. I'm in that, still working full time, and this is a side gig, and there's a lot of people who watch us that are like that. And there was a question that was asked, but it comes down to, are you doing enough? What are you prepared to do? And are you doing the right things?
Yep. Well said. And I think probably on that, it's probably
the end.
Yeah, the end.
Yes, the end. So thank you for joining us. On that, we're going to continue this conversation a little bit in the next one, but a bit different. I'm Karen Vale, mindset and confidence coach, and I am Anna Jennings, and I'm a midlife mentor. Thanks for joining us.